Greetings, my friends. It is Mark Hoverson, and I am on with Eric Wilkes. Eric, are you out there?
I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly. Everybody raise your hand if you can hear Eric and I going okay. It'll help the cause. We want a little interaction. And that, Eric, they can hear us good. Well, here's what I want to do. I want to be very speedy. I want to respect everybody's time. And let me just do one little plug in here, and then we're set to go. For all of you who attended my live from Hawaii webinar, I apologize for that. The bandwidth I guess when you're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on a little island, technology still can just decide that it's not going to cooperate. So we ran out of bandwidth on that thing, but it was hotly attended. So if you missed it, we're going to recover some of that here. But let's do this really quick for introduction. Let's go with where your computer is right now, like where you are, and the number one reason you're on this webinar. So let's do that. Shoot it in the question area real quick. I'll just fire them off real quick. But where you're located and the number one reason you are on this webinar right now. And I will let you know some of the... Here we go. Chip, good to see you, by the way. So we've got Ontario, gotta have the number one reason, gotta have SoCal. Come on, I gotta open everybody up here. I'm in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and the number one reason I'm on this webinar is because I actually love sharing this information. What you're gonna hear tonight has completely changed my life. If you don't know my story, I qualified for welfare about 4 years ago, give or take. Learned about Global Resorts Network, $1,000 commissions, the pay plan, and I really got into the whole industry, got into the whole internet marketing, leverage, and the whole thing. And so I actually love sharing what I'm about to share, so that's why I'm on here. But here we go. We've got number one reason Pedro's on here. He's from New Jersey to make money. James Allen, because you love my Solomon CEO. That's awesome. Number one reasons, wanting to get consistent GRN sales. Very good. Bruce is on here because he wants to know what's working now. Rachel's on here from South Carolina. She's heard about me, but never any of my stuff. So Rachel, this is your first connection. I'm excited. Dennis wants to learn to sell more GRN. Shelby's in Seattle. He wants location independent lifestyle, and he loves marketing. I love that. Shelby. Sacramento, because my mentor told me about this and I want to change my life. Donna's on for guidance and direction. This is actually really fun for me to hear and read these real quick. Krista's on here. I love it. How to live the life of freedom and passion. I love it. These keep going on and on. I could keep going on. Arizona, and I hate freaking work. And he's at work. He's at work, and he wants out of that, it sounds like. In his parlor in search of a real business. We will show you what we got tonight. Brandon wants to be like me, and that's why he's on here. Well, here we go. Steve wouldn't miss a webinar from Hoverson. I love it. Vanessa's here to support her GRN team. We've got Manhattan, Kansas. Loves what Eric is doing. Vernell is here for money. This is really fun. Ray's ready for the big money. That's what he said. Wants to replace my income and travel the world. That's Jim. And to be part of the team. That's what I love to see. Debbie. I mean, okay, we got a ton of this stuff. It never goes. It just,
nonstop.
It just keeps coming. Jacqueline, we love you too. Wants freedom. Hawaii webinar was impactful and wanted to hear again, even though it was one word every 4 seconds. Raise back for more. So here's what I want to get to really quick. The common thread that I kind of heard. Well, Eric, what was some common threads you just heard of why people are here? Because really, this webinar is more about you guys than it is about us. We want to hit that target directly why you're here. So Eric, what do you think was the vibe of some of those reasons in your words?
I got to make more money.
Yeah, make more.
Seems like it was make more money and time. You know, a lot of people they're tired of wasting time trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and here's a huge. Let me just share with you the disparity between culture right now. There are people who, believe it or not, there are people who make a lot is a relative term, but they make a lot of money. For instance, when I was just in Hawaii, we were going to fly back. Like I wanted to fly back earlier in the day. Checked flights, all sold out. We got on our one-way Hawaii flight to Phoenix, completely sold out. First class, no options, no upgrades available. Our resort, which was $4,500 a week, we paid $799 through GRN. I asked for a late checkout because we had a late flight. They said we're 100% booked. Every room is taken, and we have a new couple coming into your room, so you can't go late. The week we were there, 100% booked. You go to the restaurants on Hawaii, they are packed. Waikiki, completely sold out. My wife and I go to, well, not completely sold out, but it's just jam packed. My wife and I go to the Waikiki main strip. It's got your Coach, your Ralph Lauren stores, all these really expensive stores. Coach purses, packed with people. Tanetian pearls. My wife's looking at this pearl. People everywhere. There's actually a lot of people that are making a lot of money. And here's the problem with those people. The problem for those people is they make a lot of money, but they don't have a lot of time. Okay? Their jobs, they're working like complete insanity to make their money. The other side of the spectrum is the people, usually the people who need more money. Those are the people who have a ton of time. So, Eric, am I phrasing this very interesting scenario? Like,
That's true. I mean, and I think to sum that, if you wanted to sum all of those statements up into one word, it would be freedom.
right. Yeah, freedom. That okay, so let's so here's the thing as a marketer, this is just a little marketing tip. Raise your hand if you want me to share with you one of the most profound marketing tips I've learned. Co-created over I've co-created 8 figures of income on the internet in the last few years. I want to share with you one of my best little moves I know. Here it is. So there's a good number of people on this call right now. This is the common denominator, freedom. But did you know for some people, more money is not the bigger driver? It's actually time freedom. But did you know if I sold how you could have time freedom to some of you, you don't really care because you've got a lot of time. You watch too much TV and you know it. You want out of that. You'd love to be busy and making more money. So the best thing you can do as a marketer is realize that I've identified at least with the help of some books and some other things, a little bit over 50 buying triggers why people buy things. There's 50 buying triggers. And for instance, when you're selling travel, you can sell, let me show you a GRN really quick because I know a lot of you want to see. One of the reasons someone was on here was to see a real business, to see if there's a real business. And the gist of a real business, everybody, to just sum it up as in the most classic sense of what a business is, it's an activity where there's a monetary transaction, meaning somebody buys something. So this is like wealth 101, but in order to make money, you have to have someone buy something. Now let me go deeper. In order to get rich, you either have to have one of two things happen. You have to make a little bit of money on that purchase and sell a lot and lot and lot of that product, or there can be fewer transactions but more profit and more margin on those transactions. So that's just a little bit of my dork professor coming out. But in terms of is this a real product, I want to just feature something really quick. So this is October 29th. I pulled this up while I was in Hawaii because somebody asked me, did you just get a good deal? And GRN is it really a good deal, or is because the industry has so much hype in it. Is it really, really good, or is it just, good? So I pulled up this Cabo Villas Beach Resort and Spa, and this is on Orbitz right here. You can see it's $3,260. Okay, now notice a couple things. This is a 2-bedroom luxury suite, October 29th. Now, go into GRN. GRN, Cabo Villas Beach Resort and Spa. Eric, notice it's the identical resort, correct?
Hmm.
With me on that? Look at the dates, identical dates, October 29th to November 5th. 2-bedroom luxury suite. It's the same exact resort, same exact date, same exact room. Our price is $398. That is 8% off for the identical thing on Orbitz. Eric, look at this
That's
thing.
insane.
This is GRN. So, especially the gentleman who said, I'm looking for a real business. Online, you can make money. You can make a buck in a billion different ways. There's a billion MLM companies. There's a billion ebooks you can market. There's a billion of everything that you can sell. It's not a big deal to get a merchant account anymore. Things are super easy to become a merchant and sell stuff now. But the kicker is, what are you going to sell, and are people going to buy it? And you've got to show value. So GRN is $29.95, $2,995. On this one vacation, you just about make the buyer, the member, just about makes their money back on one vacation. Last week with Hawaii, when I went, I paid $799. Retail was $4,500. I made more than the amount I paid for it. I bought this about 3.5 years ago on I think it was a 21% credit card. The APR on it was like 21%. And I bought it, and I use it all the time, and I save $2,000, $3,000 per vacation. So when you're looking to sell something, you will not be able to sell it. You will not be able to get rich. And maybe your goal is not to get rich, but you will not be able to have the freedom and the peace of mind, the 100% peace of mind that you're going for, unless you're selling something you believe in 100%, meaning where the buyer has absolutely zero, he's buying it or they're buying it, and you don't feel like they're getting the value out of it. Because that's the GRN thing that I think is really, really key, is what I call just the 100% peace of mind. In that if you're going to go online and you're going to sell high-ticket products, a lot of times those products might not give you 100% peace of mind selling them, and GRN is one that gives you that 100% peace of mind. Eric, would you agree with that? What do you think about? Follow up with what I'm.
Yeah, absolutely, I would agree with that. My whole thing is, when I'm looking at a company, and like you said, there's tons of them out there, is the product is really the foundation of your success. If you've got a crappy product, yeah, you could sell it, but is it going to be sustainable long term? Absolutely not. Right. So our product, you hit the nail on the head. 100% peace of mind. You can be confident in it. You can be not only 100% confident in it, and so on, and have that peace of mind, but know that you're bringing real value to the consumer, to the end user, to the end buyer.
Right. Now, let me raise your hand if we're making sense in terms of the product being valid, and just some of it's just common sense, just totally common sense, but I really want everyone to see where at least Eric and I have landed in terms of, until your heart and your conscience is really, really good about your product. Really, really good. Even if your team that you're working with in a network marketing company, even if your team doesn't do it 100% for you, okay? Even if your team doesn't do it 100%, even if your owner doesn't do it 100%, even if the marketing system doesn't do it for you 100%, if your product does it for you 100%, it's like you can deactivate your doubter. You can deactivate the laziness, and you can really sell something with a lot of gusto. And literally the product is the foundation. But let me put a little wrench on that, because here's the thing. I believe 100% in a book called The 4-Hour Workweek. Okay, 4-Hour Workweek. Now, and I've used this example before, but if I sold that book, if I became an affiliate and sold that $14 book on Amazon.com, give me a guess on how much you think Amazon would pay me per sale. If I, instead of doing a webinar for Global Resorts right now, I was doing a webinar on a product that I do believe is a great foundation, the 4-Hour Workweek, and I drove everybody to my affiliate link to buy that 4-Hour Workweek. Guess how much Amazon?
It's like 3%, I think, based on your volume.
So, and my volume, 3%. What is that, Eric? Out of a $15 book, you're the mathematician.
Oh my gosh, it'd be like 50 cents or something like that. I mean,
So 15, yeah, 1% would be 15 cents. Is that
yeah,
right? Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I'm getting
So
sick. Okay, so here's the next point I wanted to make.
45 cents is the exact number.
Okay, 45 whopping cents. So here's what I really wanted to press in. The product is the foundation. The pay plan is what buys your dreams. Okay, the pay plan is what pays for your dreams. For instance, if I, were to sell the 4-hour work week and then Eric loves it and he becomes an affiliate and he sells the 4-hour work week, guess how much I make from his sales? I make a whopping nothing. Okay, so that's great. That's powerful. So you can be passionate about your product. At the end of the day, it's just one of the factors. I'm passionate about a lot of things. You don't find me having webinars on them because they don't pay. Okay. And this is a very important thing. I really want to stress it. So with GRN, the really cool thing about it is a lot of people were talking about time freedom. It's funny, almost nobody said stuff, shiny things, which I think is maybe people just weren't aware of how fun it is to drive brand new cars and live in brand new homes and take great vacations at great resorts. But you can get a lot of stuff with more money and shiny things, and that's cool. But it seems like most people were talking about the lifestyle and freedom. And so I wanted to interview Eric because his story, I think, summed up perfectly the e-lifestyle. And here's what it was. I was eating breakfast with Shani, and I'm looking over the ocean. So I'm oceanfront eating breakfast, and Eric shoots me a text, and he said, "Hey, I just signed up a platinum while golfing." And I went back and texted him something like, I don't know, "I love you." I don't remember exactly what it is. And then when I got back from breakfast, I checked my email, and I had another commission from GRN, and GRN just sends you an email, and it just says commission earned, and so I earned. It says, and then you open the email, it says you earned $1,000 from so and so. So I replied and I said, "Well, who made the sale?" And Dagan Smith made another sale. So at breakfast, while I'm in front of the ocean, I made $2,000 over breakfast. This was over breakfast. Now, I'm on vacation. I'm truly not really working. Like, I checked my email and I worked one of those days. And, it's just not a bad thing to make $2K at breakfast. But the powerful thing was Eric made $1,000 while he was playing golf. I made $1,000 while I'm eating oceanfront. Just raise your hand if I just want to strike your imagination on what, we're not miracle people. We're not special. We're not magical or anything. But we have something that a lot of people don't have, which is externally, we have a product that has a pay plan. And those things merge together. And when they merge together, and the pay plan is every time someone you recruit makes a sale, and there's a couple wrinkles in the pay plan, but the gist of it is every time someone that you've sponsored makes a sale, you make $1,000. This is pretty radical. This is a radical way of leverage. In fact, today I was talking with somebody, and Eric, I want to ask you, I want to get into the interview here in a second, but I'm Eric, I'm hot right now. I'm passionate.
Keep rolling, man.
I just talked to one of the very, very renowned leader in the industry, and he just out of the blue said, "Does GRN pay more than one level?" Because he heard there was a $1,000 commission, and he knew there was a $1,000 commission, and GRN is known for the $1,000 commissions. I mean, that's what everybody knows about GRN. And he says, "Does GRN pay more than one level?" And I said, "Every time Dagan Smith makes a sale, I make $1,000. And he said, "What?" And I said, "Every time Eric Wilkes makes a sale, I make $1,000. He goes, "What?" I said, "Every time Debbie Turner makes a sale, I make $1,000. He was ballistic. He could not believe that you could make $1,000 passively. And it's under wraps right now, but this gentleman is probably going to be joining GRN just for that reason, because there's actually a reason to develop your leaders. There's a good reason, because you make money every time they make a sale. So the long-term comradeship actually has some reason to it. But Eric, here's my question for you. So you're on the golf course. How did you meet the guy you were golfing with? Really quick. Just, I mean, in a
Um,
nutshell, how
he's
did
been in the industry for quite a while, and he's followed me online, and we just randomly reconnected. He hit me on an email that I broadcast that I had sent out, and
okay.
I knew he was local to me
Okay.
for the most part. He's about 45 minutes away or so,
Okay.
and I just straight asked him. I said, "Do you play golf?" He's like, "Heck yeah!" And I know he's listening right now too. He's at work
I
listening
figured
right
he'd
now
be.
to
I
us, but
figured he'd be on here, so I figured that.
he's like, absolutely, And I thought, wow, what better way to connect with someone than on the golf course, doing something that you like to do for fun. And we had just connected, and he's right on the edge here of making some things happen. So
Well, you know what?
I'm excited about it.
I wonder. You know what? How random would it be? He's at work, but raise your hand. I don't even know his name actually, but raise your hand if you want to share with us why you're joining GRN. What's behind it? Is he Eric? You can scroll and see if he's up
Yeah,
for
his
that.
name's Eric too.
Okay, let me look in here. Raise your hand, Eric, if you want to just jump out and share with us really quick why you joined. If not, I know you're at work, so we're totally over it, and that's okay if you're. I get it. I get it. Okay, we're gonna let that go. You might not have speakers and stuff like that, but the gist of it is, what's the bottom line reason? What's the bottom line reason, Eric, buying GRN? What's the bottom line reason for him? Do you think?
He's put a lot of money into trying different businesses, and he's just sick of not making any back on return.
Okay, and we talked a
He's
little
not
bit
really.
about. He's got employees, right? You were kind of. It's funny
Yeah,
because
he runs
Eric,
a
I know
Napa
you're
Auto.
Eric, I know you're listening to us, the other Eric, so it's kind of funny to talk about you and knowing you're like listening to every word. But it's a good motto for life. My mom taught me. Whenever you talk about somebody, pretend they're in the room, so you give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt, and you're telling completely the truth. And then my mom said, if you wouldn't tell somebody exactly something to their face, you should not say the word to another person. Anyway, that's a little moral side note. But we were talking about liability free leverage versus employee leverage. Why don't you go into that for just a second, because that was one of his main reasons for going with GRN.
Yeah, absolutely. He's dealing with headaches of employees, and it's a family business, which, he said on the golf course, he's like, that's another thing you never do, get into a family business. But we talk a lot about our industry and the GRN business model. I call it liability-free leverage-based income. You don't have the liability of employees. You don't have the liability of having products stuffed in your garage with an expiration date on them. You don't have the liability of an office building where you got to pay monthly rent and keep the lights on in your office. You don't have any liabilities, and you don't deal with the end user, the end consumer.
Right.
The customer service does that for you. And then it's leverage based, because you can now build a team of affiliates or a team of salespeople. And that's why I love this industry, and specifically GRN and those $1,000 commissions, because you're tied together, and it truly creates camaraderie. It truly pushes teamwork, and you're all incentivized to help each other. And that's why I say all the time, it's one of the only industries that's truly designed for your success. Whereas in the other Eric's situation, he essentially, I know his work schedule. He works 8, 10, sometimes 12 hours a day. And so he he owns his own business, but it's more along the lines of he owns a job, because he's constantly being called there. He's constantly working. He told me today, when I talked to him, he had a couple of employees who quit on him over the weekend. So
Right.
now he has to go rehire people. And so he's really looking for something different. And I know the one thing he said, he's like, wow, it's travel. Maybe that's what I need. It's truly, It's something different.
And here's what's crazy about travel. And I think I can prove this, but don't quote me. Maybe politics might. No, I don't think so. Maybe politics. I thought maybe weight loss, but I don't think so. If you do a Facebook post, this is my experience, okay? I post this was whatever. Hey, everybody, I just surprised Shani with a trip to Hawaii, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't even know yet. She's going to find out through this Facebook post. Okay, and you can look up on my Facebook what happened. I mean, it kind of just blew up. like comments coming galore and happy and yay and fun and oh we love you guys and have fun, and it was just like the Facebook thing with travel just went absolutely madness. Now I don't know if there's another subject that can cause universal elation quite like taking a vacation. I mean, I was thinking like like if you put something controversial in politics on Facebook, people might respond, but I don't know. That's annoying to me. But anyway, um, weight loss. If you lost 50 pounds, people would probably give you a high five and say great job. But it's kind of self-aggrand. I don't know. I think travel's the number one thing. I really do in the whole world. There's a reason it's the biggest industry in the world. It's a fantasy land. And Eric, why did you choose travel? Because I know you're really passionate about travel. Why did you
Well,
choose
yeah,
travel?
I love travel, number one. Number two, people say down economy, but then you go look at the statistics, and in 2009, after the economy tanked, $6.9 billion was still spent buying timeshares in the United States. So that tells me, as a business, you talk about a recession-proof business, people aren't, I mean, they're still traveling. They're still buying travel. They're still spending money on travel.
Mm-hmm.
They may have cut some other things, but they're still traveling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, yeah, that might be down compared to what it was in 2007, 2008. But, I mean, come on. We're not going after the whole piece of the $6 billion pie. We're just going after a small, tiny piece of it, and it's enough to create, the lifestyle of your dreams. And the other thing that I saw was the price point. Those $1,000 commissions, our $3,000 price point. It really separates the winners from the whiners pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that you're working with more of a business professional. You're working with more of a committed type of person versus people that hop from one thing to another.
Yeah.
The other thing that I saw with this was because of that profit margin, those $1,000 profit margins, it allows you to get a brand new person started, teach them about the online stuff, teach them how to market and grow their business, and they could completely screw it up. Not that, that's hypothetical, of course, because that's what we're here for as mentors and coaches, mm-hmm. but they could still squeeze out a profit. Mm-hmm. Typically with the lower cost opportunities, there's less profit margin in there. So it makes it difficult to advertise your business and still be able to be profitable. And that's why a lot of those companies preach the friends and family model.
Right.
And we all know that it just doesn't work that way.
Right. And we're not blanket saying low tickets are bad. We're just saying this is the way. This is how a high ticket. Here's one of the best ways I can describe high ticket. Is high ticket can give people what they want faster. They want to quit their job. You want to quit job. How much do you make a month? Okay, now make that many sales. If you make 7,000 a month, and it's going to take 7,000 a month to replace your income, make 7 sales. And in the pay plan, you don't have to make them all yourself. For me, on my march to my first million with GRN, I had one number in my head, 1,000 sales. That was it, 1,000 sales, and I only have to make some of them. That was what was in my head. It's 1,000 sales. I make $1,000 a pop, and I get to have teammates to do it. I mean, Eric is one of my teammates. I know Eric. Your best week in GRN, and this is an income disclaimer, we're not promising you nothing here. Nothing. Nothing even. We're not promising if you join, you're going to make a penny. We're not promising you anything. So I want to be very clear on that. But Eric, your best week of passive income with GRN.
Passively over $2,000.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's nice where
Passively.
Just in a week, it just shows up passively. That's not bad. I mean, I've had, and again, I've been in a little longer. Eric's newer, but I've had 11,000 just in one teammate made 11 sales in that wasn't bad. 11,000 from one teammate, and that was over a course of a week, but it was one teammate. And that's not bad. So there's some massive leverage on here, but what I think high ticket sums up is you can spend 400 in marketing and then you make 1,000 and it makes sense. A lot of the other programs, if you spend $400 in marketing, the cost of a lead is going to be the same. Okay, let's get that out of the bag. Whatever the cost of a lead is online, the cost of a lead, it's going to be the same for whatever you're selling, at least in our industry. If you're going after jet owners, it's going to be more money. But in our industry, it's going to be the same. So to have a return of 1,000 is just really, really powerful. And then to have a downsell low ticket is an effective strategy too, and we use it on the team. So we're not against low ticket incomes or opportunities at all. But here's what I want to do. I think we've summed up some pretty good talking points. I've been having a good time. I don't know, Eric?
Absolutely.
You?
Same here.
The liability leverage, 40 employees. I think of 40 employees and I just about want to puke. Here's the best thing. If I can get totally candid, raise your hand if you want me to get as just candid. Not that I've been uncandid, but I want to get super candid with you. I want, if people are on here, and let me give you a little illustration. If people are on here and they said the number one reason they're here, let me clear this slate so I can go into Mark Hoverson extreme honesty zone, is they want more money and they want more lifestyle freedom. I'm going to tell you that is not going to be given to you. No one, unless you win the lottery, but even then you have to buy the ticket, okay? Nobody is going to give you more money, okay? Maybe your boss, but you're going to have to work hard. It's not going to just be handed. It's something that has to be decided and then pursued. And pursued against what I called in the earlier email today, gremlins. Gremlins are self-doubt. Eric, how did you overcome your initial self-doubt about the industry? Here you are. You got into the industry in college. People are sitting there. I can't imagine that you really believed 100% that you could pull off a six-figure income, and you're just
not at all.
You're a loser. How did you overcome your self-doubt in a nutshell?
Well, in a nutshell, I took it as I'll show you kind of thing, and spun it around and turned it into a positive, action than just sitting there sulking, letting everyone around me bring me down.
Right, because never mind your self-doubt. Then your negative relatives, your negative spouse, your negative friends, all of them are chiming in. Then, once you finally decide to take action, then you have the realities of a marketplace to go overcome. And then once you finally make some sales and grow a team, all of a sudden you have the reality of a team going on. And teams, like employees, can be high maintenance. They can be filled with drama. They can be a lot of things. And you're going to have to overcome that if you really want to deal with more money, more lifestyle freedom. You really, really, really do. So with that being said, let me ask you this, Eric. You've built some teams, you've built some passive income. For everybody who's on here who wants that lifestyle freedom in a nutshell, I believe, comes from high margin sales and then passive sales. GRN wraps those up real nice. And in a minute, I want to take specific GRN questions. But Eric, in terms of team building, what is, for the person who's looking to join, looking to grow a business, like earlier the gentleman wants a real business. You have your new Eric coming on. He wants the liability-free leverage. What is two things you can tell him about growing a team? Because a team is where all the magic is. Granted, I will tell you there's some BS you will have to deal with, but if you want to have time, freedom, and some stuff, we're on planet Earth, you're going to deal with stuff no matter what. But in terms of growing a team and gaining that leverage, just tell us the top two things for the newbies to keep in mind.
Well, I would say, as far as growing a team, my favorite word in my vocabulary is perseverance. Okay. You just have to keep trying and never give up, never quit. Don't let anybody around you bring you down.
Okay.
And then number two,
but I got to add to that. I got to add to that really quick. You ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I got an email last week, and now granted, you guys gave me permission to be candid. I want to be totally candid. We have a huge organization. GRN is a very big thing. There's in anything that hits more than I don't know, 2 people, you're going to have some negativity from time to time. So I get this kind of a negative email. And the gist of it is, I wish we were more like this other company. And that's great. I mean, it's a fine company that they said. And they said, I wish we were more like this other company in this respect and that respect, even though we're way better in this respect and that respect. And there was a little tone like, you know, I could leave if we don't get better in this area from a teammate, right? And the best part of me, like when you just said like self-directed, is I thought to myself, hey, this isn't an employee. This is an affiliate. It's an affiliation. I'm not the boss. They're not the underling. We're just an affiliation of people doing the same product. And if they want to go market something else, they can do it. And that's fine. It's not, there's no trace of lack of me taking my hand off the plow. Like, and I will tell you just, and on top of what Eric is talking about with perseverance, when you grow your team, once you hit about 10 people, you're going to think about quitting because of the team. Your income's going to be growing and all sorts of things are going to be happening and you believe in it, but there's going to be a little bit of drama from one of your teammates. They're going to criticize you. They're going to tell you something this. They're going to do that. They're going to see another thing and join over there. And there's going to be a little bit of heart that's going to go out of you. And if you can overcome that, you can build a team to 100. And then you're going to start experiencing some real power. And while there might be some of that gunk you've got to overcome, there's going to be people who break through, who create full-time incomes, who have kids, they send to private school, they get to take on vacation. You're going to have glories beyond glories. But if little things can turn you and quit you, I'm just telling you as a friend, this is not your industry. You were better off not here. Okay, I don't care. Just as a friend, I'm just saying. So perseverance, that is so powerful, Eric. And then one more, and then we're going to get to GRN specific questions about getting started, getting back to the person that invited him here, and rock and roll. So what's the second thing about growing a team?
Number 2 would be never look back. You hit that number, the number you said, 100 people. I had one of my early mentors. He said, look, man, you don't even have a team until you've enrolled at least 100 people yourself.
Right.
And the reason for that, because we're in an industry where only the strong survive. That's just reality. And the beautiful thing about this industry is you get to pick and choose who you want to work with. And there's an old saying, you can't push a rope, but you can pull it.
Right.
So you have to just charge forward, and every once in a while, you pick your head up and you kind of look back behind you and you go, hey team, here's where I'm at, here's where I'm going, here's what I did, here's how I did it, let me pull you along. And then you got to put your head right back down and just keep charging forward and just not have a care in the world about what other people think of you. Kind of what Mark, you alluded to there momentarily was, feeling the clawback or the needs of your team. You
Right.
can't let it, you can't get sucked into that. You just have to keep charging forward and never look back.
Right. Wow. Hey, did we raise your hand if you've gotten some value out of this? And when I say value, sometimes value is like, dang, I maybe didn't want to hear that, but I'm glad I just did. Okay, value does not always come in the way you think it should come. In fact, if you find a good team and a good mentor, they're gonna make you uncomfortable more than they make you comfortable. You've got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable in your life. So, Eric, we're getting lots of hands of a lot of value that was just shared on this, so this is good. Here's what I want to do. We have a lot of guests on the call. I want to take some random GRN specific questions, meaning you're invited here. A lot of people are brand new. You're invited here. You're looking at joining GRN. You're maybe you have some self-doubt. Maybe you want a little more detail about something in the product. Maybe you want a little more explanation about something in the pay plan. We didn't dive in too deep on each one, but let me tell you one thing about our product really quick. I was in Waikiki, which I don't even know how to spell, so I'm just going to throw a bunch of Y's and K's up there. Anyway, I was in Waikiki, and I met a guy who basically pays $250 per couple to those street vendors who basically say, hey, do you want to do the Polynesian luau for free? Okay, it's $60 a person. But if you do this, 90, all you got to do is do this 90-minute travel presentation. It's not a timeshare presentation, it's the membership, just kind of like ours. And you can get 2 of those for free. So it's $120. You'll be in and out in 90 minutes, which means 2.5 hours. Well, anyway, so he pays $250 per couple. He has 150 couples a week attend these presentations. They charge, just so you know, they start at $9K, but they drop it down to $7K for 4 weeks of a timeshare condo membership. And the weeks range from, normally, the low ends are $525 to $899. And here's the best part. This guy's my age. I met him. I actually talked to one of these guys, the street vendors, to get the owner's name. I sat down with the owner of this multi-million-dollar operation daily and got to take him out to eat. And we went over the thing. And with GRN, you have 52. You can travel 52 weeks. Any of the 52 weeks per year, you have 10 weeks of membership that you can use per 52 weeks. So you have 10 weeks versus 4. And our normal prices are in the $298 to, well, sometimes it'll go up to $799, but usually it floats around $500 or so. $500. And we have 10 weeks, and we go for $2,995. We are such an unbelievable offer that when I was visiting with him, he couldn't believe it. Like he could not believe our membership. And our membership is, and here's the interesting part. You ready for this? So I co-own GRN, and this is important you guys understand that who I'm talking to right now are people who are, just so everybody can understand. If you're on this call and GRN might be an option, I want you to be able to go deep and know the story and know the reality, because until you are convicted at that deep level like I was and am, you're never going to have enough oomph to break through the self-doubt, the negativities, the skepticisms, a current economy. You're going to have to break through all that crap, plus your own patterns of procrastination, your own patterns of small thinking. You got to have a deep, deep core belief in what you're doing. So here's the deal. I ask him, what do you pay your provider? Okay, there's a travel provider behind this whole operation in Waikiki, and I said, well, like what do you pay? What do you pay roughly? And he said, we pay about $200 per membership. And he said, and we have to charge $7K because we rent space all along Waikiki. We have to pay $250 for these people and then we have to pay. I mean, we have to rent hotel rooms. We have to pay closers. We have a lot of expenses. We pay $200 per membership. And then I said, we pay about $450. We're twice as good, and we pay about twice as much to the vendor. Eric, isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting. I just learned something there myself.
Well, I didn't know it. I mean, we pay double, and he's like, dude, you guys are paying way too much. And I'm like, well, we just went over that your product is kind of not even close. Like it's not even close.
Yeah, doesn't even compare.
We have our 10 weeks. You do 4. We charge less than half. We offer twice as much, and then we're cheaper for the members. Oh, and the other best part, they charge $250 a year to re-up to be in the membership. You got to pay $250 annual, and then you go pay $899 for a week. Oh, come on! It was hysterical. But here's what I want you guys to understand. We pay twice as much as the industry average for our product from the wholesaler, and we offer something that is so clean, that is so good, that you can go out with great confidence, and we have great pay plan. And anybody who's a member of GRN, we have never missed a single pay period ever. We're completely debt free. We have nice cash reserves. We have healthy merchant accounts. I'm telling you, travel, $6.9 billion on U.S. timeshares. It is a very hot industry, and I want to invite you into it. Internet marketing as a subculture of GRN is a hot industry itself. If you're going to be an online marketer at any level, here's what I want to just kind of leave, and then I want to take a couple questions. Is you've got to sell something if you're going to be an internet marketer. $1,000 commission to sell something you can put as a PS in your emails. Hey, see how I saved 88% on my Cabo San Lucas vacation. See how my friend just went to Hawaii for $298 for a 2-bedroom unit. Expedia was $2,500. Just put as a PS, even if you're marketing something else. This is one of the greatest opportunities for lifestyle transformation, for great memories. I mean, the triggers could go on and on that I want to mention. But I did say some commercials, so I did say some, can you explain 10 weeks? Yes, here's the explaining of 10 weeks. You can use, well, okay, here's the deep thing. We have a live bookings area, okay? Live booking prices are usually $50. They're usually $50 to $100 more per week than the non-live booking categories. So what we call the hot weeks. So if a hot weeks is in the hot weeks area for $398, it's usually going to be $455 in live bookings. You can book 10 weeks during hot weeks and basically anything non-live bookings. Okay, so you can request resorts, you can do whatever. You get 10 weeks of that. And then any weeks beyond that, you can actually travel 52 weeks per year. You just have to use any of the other bookings out of the live bookings category, which is usually $50 to $100 more per week than the hot weeks and whatever. Now, in the thousands of memberships that we've co-marketed, I've only heard of one couple that booked more than 10 weeks in a year. And I talked to them, and they said, we have, well, the cool thing is the live bookings are only like $50 to $100 more. So it's still, and by the way, it's still way cheaper than you're going to find even if you bought these $7,000 memberships. It's still, because they're paying up to $899. So hopefully that explains that. Raise your hand if that makes sense with the 10 weeks. You really do have 52 weeks per year you can use the membership. And you have 10 weeks of what we'll call premium weeks. And if you have more than 10 weeks of vacation, my friends, that's just fabulous. Okay, so
yeah, it's freaking awesome.
I'd love that to be a problem for even my own life. I mean, I use this thing probably, I'm guessing I use it 3 to 4 times a year, GRN, and like 10. Shanny and I were actually just talking about it. I'm like 10 weeks. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of weeks of vacation. That would make me tired. Anyway, it's just exceptional. So hopefully that explains that. And then somebody just asked, can you explain the 450? Okay, Carla, that's a great question. What I mean is GRN, when we get $29.95 for the membership, we pay out $2,000. Okay, so we pay out $1,000 to the seller and $1,000 to their sponsor. So that leaves us, GRN, with $1,000. Now, of the $1,000, we pay our travel provider who services all the travel needs of everybody. We pay them roughly $425, and then we have admin expenses. We have credit card merchant fees. We have licenses. We have plenty of other little bills in there. But we pay $425 to the travel provider. That's what the 450. That's what the 450 means when I say we pay 450. So hopefully that makes sense. Got it. Okay. More questions. These are great questions, by the way. Does GRN have a monthly auto ship to build residual walkaway cash flow? Okay, now that's a great question. Here's the thing with GRN. High ticket is, I call it passive, not residual. Okay, and here's the trade-off. The short answer is no. We do not have a walkaway passive income. And I have met a couple people in MLMs who truly have had a walkaway passive or a walkaway residual income based on a consumable product. What's important to understand is we are not that. And we're like, that's like comparing apples to oranges, because when someone joins in those companies, maybe you make $90, or maybe you make $150, or maybe you make even $400. I mean, that's pretty high in those companies. But the gist of it is, we make the 1,000 up front, and then when that person makes a sale, you make 1,000 too. So the answer is no. This is not a residual MLM. It also pays, and people are able to quit their jobs a lot faster because we pay a lot up front. So know that this is an affiliate. That's why we call this like a hybrid affiliate program and not an MLM. Because the attrition, I'm not saying, I know people that build MLMs. I am all about building an MLM. It's just a different thing. It's like an apple compared to an orange. It's really a different animal. Great question, Neil, though. Great question. Best ways. Okay, we've got a lot of questions. Way less. Okay, this is a great question. James, dang, this is an awesome question. James just asked me, what's in it for the hotels or the condos? What's in it for the condos who, like with the example that I showed here, $3,200 for the same exact condo, where here they're getting $398. Okay, like why would this Cabo Villas Beach Resort, why would they do this rigmarole? Okay, well here's a little bit of the explanation. Number one is we like to think that Orbitz and Expedia and Travelocity are like, they're basically like Google. We look at locations, and then Expedia, out of the kindness of their hearts, or Orbitz, out of the goodwill, they dig down into all the web and they pull up the friendliest, best opportunity for us to travel. We'd like to think that that's Google and Expedia are in the same category. Well, Orbitz and Expedia, Travelocity, they're something called advertising platforms. Okay? They are nothing but advertising platforms. And in order for this Cabo Beach Resort and Spa to show up, and if you go to Orbitz or you go to Expedia.com, go ahead and click on advertising packages and just start playing around with what the minimums. In fact, they don't even list it. It's so dang high to get on Orbitz and to get on Expedia that these companies pay thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands to have their resorts listed. And what this is even when they click here, guess whose merchant account you're buying through? You're buying through Orbitz. So guess what? This money ends up last going to the resort. Orbitz takes their chunk for the advertising up front, then they take a chunk off the merchant fees. Finally, Orbitz gets its take, but whether we signed up or not, Orbitz it was taking money from them in the start just to even get exposure. So what happens, here's how this thing goes down. With GRN, what this company can do is they can say, you know what, maybe not instead of, but as part of, instead of, doing a $50,000 ad with Expedia, and then who knows? Who knows if people will pay? Who knows? We don't really know. They don't know. It's advertising risk. What they say is, you know what? We will just take, because the travel provider, out of that 398, the travel provider takes a portion of it. So let's say they take $100. Okay, so the travel provider takes $100. So the resort is left with a measly $298. Okay, but guess what? There is no risk whatsoever. No risk. Okay, and that's a lower price. And when the number is at $500 or $600, they're making $500 with no risk instead of $2,500 and $50,000 of risk money in advertising. So what happens in the gist of it is why these resorts do business with us And this is huge. And raise your hand if you want to hear this, because if you guys are on here at this point, you deserve to know the deal. Okay, if I could draw it in a picture, what happens is you've got the condo right here, and the condo has an option. Okay, this resort has an option. They can go in the direct response marketing realm. And I am telling you, well, let's just take me, for example. Okay, we'll pretend I'm a condo, and I make $1,000 a sale with GRN, and I make $1,000 when my teammates make sales. But it requires direct response, and it requires some pretty dang good marketing, okay? And thank God I have learned how to become a really good marketer. So there's some cost here. This is just equate this to cost and expertise. Now, if somebody were to give me a little phone call, okay, who has a phone that looks like this anymore? But if someone was to just call me and said, you know what, Mark, here's the thing. We have a gigantic list of people who we know will buy GRN, but here's the gist of it. You're only going to make $200 every time someone buys GRN from you. But guess what? I have no risk. I have no need for expertise. I have no need. It's just an automatic cash cow feeding. I would actually take this. Eric, do you know what I'm saying? If you could say, you don't have to market. Hey, bro, you don't have to market. Let me just start paying you money. Okay, so let me make this the same way. The condo and the resort has to market themselves. So they can either pay these big, and you think, like I said, don't take my word for it. Go into Expedia and act as an advertiser. See the prices. See what it's like. You're paying per impression. You're paying for position. You're bidding. Oh my gosh, it's horrendous, my friends. So instead of this resort saying, you know what, just give us $100,000 and we'll give you a lot of exposure on this site. And all exposure is called maybe money. Maybe people will buy it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. Or what GRN does is they got a call from this travel provider of ours. And they said, here's the deal, condo. You can be in our network if you promise to charge between $298 and $699 per week. Sometimes you can play in the $750 to $799 if it's a really good, like if it's a 3-bedroom, if it's in Hawaii, you can go up to $799. And then here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you exposure to a massive travel predisposed, hungry, thousands upon thousands of avid travelers who love to travel. So here's what happens. Okay, this is the long explanation, but these condos, I'm not saying they say no to Expedia, because obviously we find them on Expedia, so they say yes to Expedia and Travelocity. But oh boy, Eric, could you imagine if you got that phone call and they just said, we just want to send quality leads to your GRN presentation, but you only make $200. Okay.
It's guaranteed money.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, so this is exactly the riddle. It's the GRN riddle, and it's been asked forever, and nobody's ever figured it out until, I'm not saying I'm the only one that figured it out, but I racked my brain trying to figure out how this was even possible. And I've thought about it forever, and nobody ever came up with the answer, but then I figured it out. Because I said, okay, well, I'm going to pretend I'm going on Expedia. I'm going to pretend that I'm going to market something. And eventually I figured it out. That's what it is. It's guaranteed money, guaranteed leads, guaranteed buyers. That's what they sign a contract. And then on another thing with buying power, we have, and that's just one of the answers. We take something like this beach villas, and I'm not saying we have this arrangement with them, but our travel provider can go to the beach and say, you know what, here's the thing. We'll give you $100. Well, it's probably more than that. But we'll give you $350 for your 1-bedroom unit. And here's the thing: you're online out here. You're getting $3,000 for it, or you're getting $2,500 that gets cash to you. But we'll take, I don't know, every week we can guarantee that we'll have 10 members there. and we'll take 520 rooms. How's that sound? Now, all of a sudden, because of the power, the buying power, 520 rooms, do the math, my friends, because I don't know how to do math that well. So let's do the math. 520 rooms, 520 rooms times, let's say $300. You're looking at $156,000. That, I'm not saying that's the arrangement we have with these guys, but that's not a bad guaranteed cash flow coming in. You guys see? Okay, raise your hand if you see what I'm talking about here. This is the deal. This is how this game is played. Mass buying, more money up front, less work. The resorts love us. We save their lives. We market for them. Think about it. Think about it, my friends. It's an act of distribution. This is deep concepts of wealth and money and advertising and marketing. But the gist of it is, you don't need to know all that stuff. You just need to know it's working. It works. People take these vacations. They love them. People make hundreds of thousands of dollars. They love the program. Oh, man, Eric, I'm intense tonight. My gosh. Passion. Oh, so
pure passion.
My goodness, yeah. Neil, I appreciate your comments on there. Here's a question from Jerry. Is anybody making sales in the retail-only segment? In other words, are sales being made to non-biz-op people? The answer is, I wish, and I probably could, just show you the books. I see the books every day. Today, we had one sale that was just retail. And here's how I know that's one sale. Because when GRN gets the credit card money come in, it's either a $3,095 purchase, and if it's retail, it's $29.95. We have these almost every day, and just so you know, and the reason we don't have more of it is people just, I don't think I've done as good a job as I could explaining how amazing this deal is and how it works. Some of you are, I think, getting the vision of it now, but we mainly make our money in, hey, you want to make money? This is the way to do it. Let's go. Be a product of the product, buy the product, do the thing. But the answer is yes, we have retail sales almost every day. And even deeper than that, our travel provider sells the same thing we're an affiliate of our travel provider, which means we have other affiliates of the same product that sell it for $5,000 to $10,000 in a hotel setting. And we've had teammates who, and I'll give you an example, we had a teammate who was ready to have a sale, and she said, you know what, this guy said it sounds just like another membership he bought at a hotel in Washington, D.C. And then we found out it was the identical product, and I said, well, what did he pay for it? And he paid $5,000 for it in a hotel. So they go between $5,000 to $10,000, and people vary it. But the answer is we only make up like 30% of our travel providers' total buyers. So most people who have this product buy it for more money, and they buy it with absolutely no incentive to make money. Yeah, I believe GRN is a baby right now. I think we've paid out over, I don't have that. I don't want to say a false number, but way over $20 million, and it's been to a variety, and it's only a few years old. We've paid out to over 25 countries. I believe we're just barely getting started. I really do, because we're just teaching it better now. So when you go to a resort, do they know you're not part of the timeshare owner, and do they treat you differently? Pedro, you know the deal. Pedro knows the deal. The answer is it depends on the resort. For instance, when I went to Hawaii this time, it was funny because valet parking is $30 a day, and when I got to the valet, they said, okay, it's $30 a day, and then they said, oh, you are an owner. It's $5 a day. Okay, so what happened was a lot of times GRN, because we're in our inventory can come from the exchange networks. So if you're familiar with things like RCI, if you're familiar with the San Francisco Exchange, if you're familiar with interval travel, if you're familiar with any of those outfits, our inventory flows from all of these sources into the GRN plus what our own travel provider sets up. So our inventory is very, very rich. And a lot of times, because it's through like San Francisco Exchange, we're actually buying another timeshare owner's week. We're buying it so that, I mean, I could go into the dorkness of how this all works. Some of you don't care and some of you know the deal. But the gist of it is sometimes the resort knows we're not an owner, but many times you are treated as an owner because you're buying an owner's week in the exchange. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, one time when I stayed in Mayan Palace, this is the Mayan Palace, and we were poolside, and I was sitting there. My son and this other guy's daughter were playing in the pool, and we just ended up talking about, what the deal is. And he's an owner, and he asked how much I paid to be at the resort, and I said I paid $525, and he thought I meant $5,000. He bought his timeshare for somewhere like $20,000 for 1 week a year. I paid $525 for the week. His maintenance fees were like $795 a year. His maintenance fees on top of his whole program. Here's the thing though, when I did the timeshare presentation, the Mayan put me as a non-owner with a garden view. So there was a lagoon back here. There was beautiful trees and flowers, and I mean it was breathtaking. But I was on the lagoon view, or what is sometimes called the mountain view, depending on your resort. And owners were put oceanfront. Now, in that example, I was treated differently. Most of the time, it's just a total non-issue. So, hopefully that makes sense. Raise your hand if that makes sense, everybody. I'm going deep. Here's just a call to action. I would love I know there's a lot more questions that are coming in, and I'm willing to stay and answer some of them right now because this is a really great webinar. Eric, I love you for being on and sharing with me and these kind of things. But at this point, if you have enough information, you just have a final question or two, get back to the person that invited you here, or if you're watching a replay and this is some kind of affiliate link, there's probably a buy now link that's beneath this, or a join here button. Take the action or call the sponsor and get your final questions answered, and let's get rolling because there is no reason to procrastinate. I am telling you that the difference between people who have everything they want in life and people who don't is action. It's just action. Christmas is going to be here before you know it, and it's early enough where you could hit Christmas and have have good presents. I mean, it could be a totally different Christmas for you. That's only a couple months away. I mean, don't get me started on the not procrastinating thing, but call back your sponsor, ask the last couple questions, and get rolling. I want to take a couple other questions. Eric, any other calls to action in terms of why it's a good move for people to take action now instead of, after the holidays, or instead of, once Johnny's done with preschool, or, the million different things, or my daughter's getting married.
Sure.
My daughter's getting married next month, or what? Oh, I have kind of a sore leg this week, and all these little things. And God bless you people. We love you, and I do the same thing in other areas of my life probably. But
yeah, we all do.
What's a good urge to action?
I always end the same way every week, and I say, look, if it looks good, it's good, and you're on the edge, pull the trigger and make it happen. The stars in the universe are never going to align properly and say, hey, now's the right time for an opportunity.
Right.
You just got to pull the trigger and move forward and make it happen, and make the choice and decision, hey, this is the vehicle that I want to use to create my lifestyle for me and my family, and roll with it and just run till you're done.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, here's the thing, everybody. Eric, I want you to take over. Can you see the questions right now?
Yes, I can.
Why don't you take over a couple of them if you can? I hear my kids screaming bloody murder, and I got to either go discipline him myself or make sure his leg didn't get cut off or something. So I will be right back. Eric, take a couple, and everybody, you feel free to leave, but I want to answer some of those questions of people that have just a final questions, like they're on the edge, because I want to make some sales for our team tonight, and I want to make sure I give every chance for people to be able to come in because the water's nice, take a jump in. But Eric, can you take over for just a couple minutes? I'll be right back.
Yeah, for sure. Neil asked a great question. How many locations are typically available on a given day? And the answer to that is we've actually got over 5,000 resorts worldwide in our network. And I like to say 5,000 resorts equals you never get bored because you never have to go to the same place twice. It's really a pretty cool thing. Let's see here. If not now, when? Yeah, that's right, Joel. It truly is all about decision making. You've got to make the choice and make the decision that this is the right vehicle for you. And if it is, and it's good, and it looks good, pull the trigger, make it happen. Regardless of what you've done in the past, spent and wasted a little bit of money. I know we all have. I know when I got started in this industry, I was more than $60,000 in credit card debt. So, and that's what I spent trying to figure out this industry. So, I kind of took it to the extreme and borrowed every penny that I could possibly have to get it back. It's a super simple business model, guys. Just make it happen. Get back with the person that got you here. Get your questions answered. And formulate a game plan. I think if there's a call to action, you got to formulate a game plan and map out your first 90 days and set some of your goals and what you want to accomplish and where you want to be 90 days from now. And then in 90 days, look up and reevaluate and maybe push it out a little farther on where you want to be 6 to 12 months from now. That's really what it's all about. And then take action on that. Action, action, action. If you don't take action and if you don't better yourself, obviously, nothing's going to happen. You're going to be in the same situation and the same boat that you are right now. Let's see here. Guys, the questions are, keep them coming here if you still got them. Is there training on marketing this product? Yes, there is. I would, again, get back with your sponsor and ask them what they provide or what they recommend. I don't want to steer people in one direction or another or say one thing's better than the other because it's really not. I would say get with your sponsors, see what kind of mentorship or training system they offer and how they're growing their business. Hopefully that makes sense.
And Eric, I am back. It's funny, my wife's just with the other kids having a party in the kitchen, radio on, having a great time. They sent Micah up to his room because he must have been naughty and he's just up there screaming on his own. I'm like, really? He's screaming. I'm running this webinar and he's screaming. She's like, oh, I didn't know. So anyway.
Sounds like me. My girlfriend's watching the Colts game in the other room right now and I can hear her yelling, go, go, go. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Oh, boy. Well, we better get things wrapping up here. But here's the gist of it, everybody. GRN, regarding training, we are kind of deliberately, let me just share a little bit of the master plan. We're deliberately independent in terms of we really let affiliates chart their own destiny. If we let leaders emerge, like, I could use different names. Adam Holland's a great example. Creates his own system, very GRN focused. He goes nuts. Eric, you got your coaching club. You go nuts. We are not the police. We are not the mothers. The company as a head, meaning we don't say, okay, everybody's got to do this marketing. You can't have your own freedom to develop this or be in that system or do that or do this. So we have a really free-spirited attitude towards what training you do and what kind of marketing you do. That's what attracted me as an internet marketer, as a affiliate to GRN first, and now as an owner, I have the same attitude originally. Was if anybody's, you have total freedom unless you're doing something wrong, and then you're going to be kicked out. We've only kicked out one person ever for fake marketing or misleading marketing and stuff. So that's kind of the gist of it there. I know there's more questions, but you know what I'd love to do real quick? We are not like Melaleuca. Do I feel it's hit momentum yet? I don't even think we're close. I mean, we have buzz and things like that, but with our fundraising endeavors, with some of the offline stuff, I just hired, or I haven't officially hired them yet, but a consulting company that what their specialty is, taking the small companies and the low millions per year revenue to 50K or to 50 million monthly, or sorry, 50 million annually. And I have a big meeting with them tomorrow for some consulting stuff. Yeah, I think momentum is, you create your own momentum anyway. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of my thoughts on that. Eric, your goal was, you were saying let's get it to 1 million a month.
Yeah.
And why do you say that? Just in terms of your own vision, Eric. I mean, and just to wrap up, everybody, Eric, just as an example, we started with Eric, so let's end with Eric. Eric is offered by owners of other companies all the time to be a founding distributor, to be, we'll build a leg for you in this MLM and you can go crazy and you can do this. And you keep with GRN and you have more and more vision. Why? I mean, you're offered a lot of other options.
Well,
But why?
I mean,
Why?
it's just, when you believe in something wholeheartedly, it's hard to deter from the path. And I believe in GRN. I believe in the product. I believe in the pay plan. I believe that, it can change people's lives if they'll allow it. And I believe that, I mean, come on, $1,000.
Yeah.
I know, Mark, we were comparing numbers one day, and we roughly sponsored about the same amount of people, yet you were making 5 times, if not more than that, the money that I was. And I'm like, oh my God, I get it. It's freaking profit margin.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine who's a realtor. He's not even in or associated with GRN in any way. And he said, man, I look at your company like this. He said, he's like, I'm a realtor. He's like, and if you know your target market, you know how many times you got to show the product, the pay plan, the company, the opportunity. You know how much effort is involved in that. You know what it costs to generate that lead. And you know it's the same amount of everything across the board. He's like, do you think I'm going to sell a home that's worth $100,000 or a home that's worth $1 million? And I'm like, duh.
Right.
He's like, exactly. You're in the same situation. It's going to cost you the same amount of money to generate a lead. You're going to have to show the opportunity and the plan the same amount of times, yet it's a lot more money than what you were previously doing. And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And
And I just believe we can make this $1 million a month company collectively together as a team and create that buzz and push this to a household name.
exactly. And the household name is where I'm going. Like right now, well, let's do this. Raise your hand if you've heard of RCI. You've heard of RCI, Resorts Condominiums International. Meaning, somebody bought a timeshare and it's probably not the greatest reputation in the world. So I'm hearing and I'm looking, I don't know, Eric, what do we got? 30% hands up maybe?
Mm-hmm.
RCI, like I said, that 6.9 billion, a lot of that's RCI buyers. And so RCI is kind of a household name. The gist of it is we dominate over the typical timeshare. We dominate that 6.9 billion. And I'm not exaggerating. If you knew the industry like I knew it and you saw how it works, we can literally serve like probably and legitimately just like no emotions involved, just like dollar for dollar deal. We probably can serve 5 billion of that market. I am not exaggerating at all. There's some timeshare buyers that we cannot serve. People that do 150,000 up front for Ritz-Carlton and then they stay 6 weeks. We're not Ritz-Carlton quality. We couldn't serve them. So that's an example of somebody. There's another company, Ultimate Escapes. It was 120,000 up front, $8,000 per year. Some of their homes, some of the condos are very similar, but some of the properties we couldn't compare with. So we couldn't do the whole 6.9 billion, but probably $5 billion of those buyers, our product would serve them better. So what we are really doing, and what one of my life missions is to place quality people. And well, you don't place them, just attract the right people that want to take this message to that market. It's a huge market, and it's not a theoretical market, and it's not even a comparative situation. Meaning, like let's say you're going to sell nutrition. There's a lot of comparative stuff, and I'm all about selling nutrition, but this vitamin, is it really better? And it's kind of, is it really better? Does it justify the cost? Well, with GRN, It's not a matter of comparative, like, is it really better? It's a matter of exposure. All people need is exposure to the alternative, and they will see that this is unbelievable. Period. Like, it's a very different thing than a comparative sell. Raise your hand if that makes sense, the difference between mere exposure versus like comparative selling versus exposure selling. This is way more in line to exposure selling, because all somebody needs to see, like that leader I was talking about, Eric, who was like, you make $1,000 every time Eric makes a sale. You make 1,000 every time Dagan makes a sale. He was blown away. Guess what he was? He saw a video where I did this. I said, okay, look at this resort. It's $3,200. Okay, look at this, what it is with GRN, $398. It's the exact same unit, it's the exact same week, and it's 88% cheaper. And he's like, wow. And then my phone rings. Okay, it's just exposure, people. It's a very easy sale. I'm not saying it's guaranteeing you're going to make money, blah, blah, blah. But it's super hot. So let's do this. I invited everybody to get off the call. And this is great. No, Rachel, it's not $29.95 per year. It's $29.95 one time, and that is a lifetime membership. There's no annual re-up fee like that other resort membership I was talking about earlier. They charge $250 per year, plus their weeks are like $8.99. We have $2,995. You pay between $298 and usually $699 only when you travel that week. And there is no annual re-up. You can transfer it to a child or to a friend if you're not going to use it anymore. I think currently it's a $75 transfer fee. I mean, we have such an amazing, amazing deal. When people buy timeshares, a lot of times they say, well, we're buying it for the kids. All you're buying for the kids is the $800 maintenance fee. You're giving it to them. Okay, you're not buying a dang thing. You could buy a $29.95 package, transfer it to them for $75, and then they only pay as little as $298 for a luxury resort. I mean, this is something way better to transfer to the kids than anything else. That's a whole other trigger with GRN. But here's the thing. What I'd love to do is, and Chris just said that's what I thought made this the most amazing. No maintenance fees, no re-ups. Here's the thing. What I would love to end this with is somebody who is probably, and again, I invited a lot of people. We're down to a lot less people now. But somebody who is probably going to join, and then I won't unmute you or anything, but basically like, what's the main reason that you're going to join? And I'm not going to make this up. I'm just going to put it out there. Like, what's the number one reason you're going to join? And I'll wait a minute and give somebody the courage to throw that out there. Because you know me, Eric. Chris, maybe you're going to do it, Chris. Maybe that's what you were saying. No maintenance fees, no re-ups. I don't know. Rachel, maybe that's what you were saying. It's not $29,000. It's not $3,000 a year, but you almost could sell it that expensive. It is that crazy. So Fred says all the reasons you stated. Jacqueline says for the team, for one, and then for the opportunity. Jacqueline, we love you. Who are you joining? Jacqueline, I know. Jacqueline and I go way back. So Jacqueline, I want to know the inside scoop. So Fred and Jacqueline, we got at least a couple. Chris is in already. That's glorious. Barb is joining to replace the income and to be at home with her son. Hey, everybody, thanks for sharing, by the way. My current high-priced product is intangible. I'm seriously thinking this is an easier sell. That's Rachel. So we've got a lot of new teammates. Adam sold me on the lifestyle. Jim, that's awesome. Debbie's going to have a new teammate. This is great. Eric is joining because it's a better opportunity than anything else he's done. William is saying with GRN, it's like flying for free on what you save with the hotel. That is the best way to put it, is like you take $398, like you compare this situation, this Cabo resort versus this. I mean, it's like you're doing everything for free. I mean, you're getting your plane tickets for free, you're golfing for free, you're going out for lobster for free. You've basically been like given $2,800. And the coolest thing about GRN is what happens is it's not like Well, I don't travel that much, so GRN wouldn't be of use to me. Almost everybody takes a week vacation, and if they don't take a luxury resort vacation, they take a trip to the relatives. And I hate to break this to anybody, but a trip to the relatives is not a vacation, it's a trip to the relatives. And it might be fun and it might be all these things, but with the GRN lifestyle, what you can do is take the trip to the relatives. I still do it. In-laws sometimes begrudgingly, but I go. Okay, I go, but we still take our luxury vacations. But the gist of it is, what GRN allows you to do is you get excited about traveling. And in fact, when I saw the GRN deal, Hawaii, it was 45.50 on Expedia, and I saw it for $7.99, a Wyndham, right on the ocean view, the whole thing. I'm like, I bought my ticket. I bought my ticket for Shani and I within 60 minutes. 60 minutes. I went online. I said, okay, direct flights, Saturday, boom, 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 do it. We're done. And then guess what? Here's how we can do that. And it's not because I don't make, I'm not a super insane wealthy guy. I've got 4 kids. We're blessed in a lot of ways. But the gist of it is, with the lifestyle that this has created, it caused us to go on vacation. I wouldn't, even with my current income, I would not pay $4,500 to go to the place I went. I just wouldn't. We wouldn't go on vacation. It just wouldn't happen. When you're paying $298, like I've gone to Hawaii, I think like 5 or 6 times since I've had GRN. It's because I'm going for $298 for a 2-bedroom. I met a couple friends down. There was a $298 deal, and here's what I said. I told my friends who are my age, and they're young and they don't have much money. I said, if you can get your ticket to Hawaii, I'll pay for everything else. I got the room. And they're thinking, oh, you got the room. You're such a good guy. It was $298.
That's insane.
Anyway, what GRN lets you do is it lets you travel. It finally lets you travel. And then when you're traveling, you have new vision, you get new ideas, you feel better, your romance goes up. The studies on travel could go on and on. Couples have sex 40% more often when they're on vacation. They get an extra hour of sleep per day, and they report returning more rejuvenated and more in love. So marriage, it's like vitamins for your marriage. You take your kids on vacation. That's the best memories of my childhood. We didn't have much money, but my mom loved taking us on vacation. We went to Disney World, Disneyland. We still talk about it. I was in 3rd grade. We didn't have much money, so we didn't go on mini vacations. But when we went to Disneyland, it was the biggest thing. We still talk about it. In our family, we travel with the kids all the time, and it's their favorite thing to do in life. If I said, what's your favorite thing to do in life? They'd say to go on vacation. It's such a sexy, it's such a marvelous opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a marvelous product. You got to get me off here, Eric. We got to wrap this thing up.
9 out of 10 people will say that, though, and I love asking that question. Like, look, if you had all the money in the world and nothing but free time, what are the first 3 things that come to your mind? And they're like, spend time with friends and family, travel, and then the third one's always a hobby. So it's just a passion-based industry, and that's it.
Right. It's so passionate. So we got a couple other questions that are really they're buying questions. So everybody, you're free to go. Like I said, I wanted to have this webinar because dang it, I wanted to create an environment where anybody sitting on the fence could get off the fence and see the light. That's what I do. So that's why we're here. And these are a couple good questions. We got a question that just said, is GRN better than ROI Unlimited? I've never heard of that, so I don't know what to tell you about that. Krista just asked, can you use the GRN membership to give gift vacations to other friends and family? Okay, here's the answer, and I want to be really articulate. The answer is yes, but only from the live bookings section. And remember what I talked about earlier. As a GRN member, you have 52 weeks you can use the membership. Okay, you have 10 what we'll call premium weeks. Okay, your friends and family, if you're not with them, you cannot book from the premium weeks. You have to book from the live booking sections, which I mentioned before. It's a more limited inventory, and it's usually $50 to $100 more per week. So the answer is yes. You can. And we've had people. I had Sharon Irwin. I think Sharon was on here earlier. Did you see Sharon on here? She was. Sharon, she booked. Sharon, let's see if you're still with. Maybe she's got here, but she booked. She booked her sister to Hawaii for like 500, $600, and it was a total steal. And she used the friends and family area. So, Krista, the answer is yes. You can book friends and family. It just has to go through. It has to go through whatever. So. There you go. Okay, Jim says, thanks, guys. I'm completely sold now. So we got a bunch of people joining. Just make sure you get back to the person that invited you here. Get started. We love you. We love the time that you shared with us tonight. Eric, thanks so much for sticking on. I recorded this webinar so others will have a chance to view them. We're going to call this the Marathon webinar. This is the longest GRN webinar I've ever done. You guys have made history tonight. Just so
That's true. This is a long, an hour and a half, man.
And for me, that's a really long time because I'm like a 30-minute guy, and an hour and a half. But you know what? The gist of it was, there was a spirit in the air, and I just
pure passion. You're fresh off vacation.
Oh, that's it. I see what I'm saying, everybody. You go on vacation, you get more passion, then you make more money. Your team makes more sales. Holy crap! It never ends. All right, I'm out of here, Eric. Thank you. God bless everybody. We're rocking out. Stay tuned. There's a bunch of announcements too, but I'll send that out in an email. All right. See you guys.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.
Peace.